see all of you as we come together for this special event. I want to welcome you to the UCC in Cornwall, congregational. Our roots. We're glad you're here. Just a housekeeping item. There's 2 restrooms that way. There's also a lift. So if you have stair problems, you can use a lift to the restrooms. One down, half a flight on the right, another half a flight, another one on the left. Following our program today, we're having a chance for refreshments, get together, and the fastest way is to go out this door and out the end door and across the parking lot in the parish house. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. We'll be there for refreshments following. So we want to welcome all of you on behalf of the Cornwall Historical Society and the UCC. We're co-sponsoring the event today. As most of you know, we have a long and storied history and connection with Hawaii and Hawaiians, and so it's a great opportunity for us to share this today. We want to thank National Iron Bank for being a financial sponsor today. We greatly appreciate that. Anything else you want to say about the Historical Society? Lisa, where are you? Oh, there you are. Anything else?
I'm Lisa Samant. I'm the president of the society. We just feel very proud that we're able to be the sponsor of this wonderful program that we've been hearing about for so long. And it tells a story about the connection of the islands to this very small town in Connecticut, and which is really kind of miraculous.
It's amazing.
As the link continues, we have visitors from Hawaii all year long coming to the Historical Society to look up information about Opukaha or the Farm Mission School. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. Sure.
I am Dr. Neil Hitch, the Executive Director of Hawaiian Mission Houses, Historic Site and Archives in Honolulu, Hawaii. We are glad to be here with you today, and thank you for such a warm welcome on what for us is a pretty chilly afternoon. This program that you're going to see today is the culmination of about 3 years worth of work following February 17th, 2017. We had a big day in Honolulu, Opukaha Day, and for that day, it was the 200th anniversary of his passing. We had commissioned a play by one of the premier actors in Hawaii, Moses Goods, and the play was to kind of commemorate the passing in the beginning of a bicentennial period that is the bicentennial of our National Historic Site and our accredited museum. And I think that we thought that, well, it would just be done one time. And there were lots and lots of people there. But in the next few months, people began calling and asking to see the play. And so the play is toured almost continuously throughout the state of Hawaii, on all of the islands. And we began to think last year about the bicentennial happening here in New England. And we thought, well, we have a production of a story that was widely known in New England for 100 years. But a story that was widely known from newspaper accounts and text and historians. And what Moses Goods has done is put together a story that humanizes a man who was a Hawaiian man, who was removed from his home and was here in Cornwall on a search for both family and a search to return home. And so I think that what you're going to see today in the presentation of My Name's Opukaha is a depiction that takes the story out of just being something in print, and it makes it something where we can see the human side of both trauma, sacrifice, and redemption. We have 2 trustees with us today. Our board chair, Peter Young, who is here with us, and Chris Cook, who's a trustee of Hawaiian Mission Houses, also an author, produced the biographical work of Opukaha. And so this is a very unusual opportunity in the core of the place where this story really happened. And I'm going to invite Chris up for a minute to do an introduction and speak.
Thanks, Neil. I'm on the board of trustees of the Hawaiian Mission Houses, and my name's Cook, as in Captain Cook. So I'm from Waimea, Kauai, or Cook language. And though I'm not related to them, my son's a commercial fishing boat captain. So I'm the father of Captain Cook. I came to Cornwall first time in 1983, and there's a picture of me in the back of my book here at Henry's grave, and I was inspired to write the book back in 1983. So I'll have some copies over in the meeting room afterwards if you want to take a look at it. But I'm also, I have a new book coming out for the bicentennial. This is just a proof. But I have about a 6-page spread on Cornwall. So what I really like is some of the local residents to take a look at this and see if you have any reactions or information about it. But for now, I'm going to bring up Peter Young, who's the president of the Board of Trustees of the Hawaiian Mission Houses.
Thank you. I'm not sure where I was going to start on this. So I'll start back in February of 2018 for the commemoration of the bicentennial of Opukaha's death. It was in Opukaha Church. And I said then, and I believe now, continue to believe that I'm here because of him. Not here because of the commemoration. I be because of him. If it had not been for him, I have been able to trace back events that because of him, I exist. And I'll get into a little of that. We are taking this production. We started on September 29th at Goshen Church, at the church where Hiram Bingham and Asa Thurston were ordained 200 years to the day. It actually was a place where Hiram met his wife, Sybil. I'm going to let Opukaha tell his story, so I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about him, but unfortunately he died, and the memoirs were out, information was coming out. Hiram Bingham, at one of his vacations, as he said, from Andover Theological Seminary, he came here. And he was looking into the school. I don't believe there's any record that he ever had personal contact with Opukaha, but because of what he had read and heard about him, he came here. Following that, he volunteered to take his place. Opukaha and Samuel Mills were supposed to be the missionaries that came to the islands to bring the gospel to Hawaii. Opukaha died in February of 1818. Shortly thereafter, Samuel Mills died. The American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions was looking for missionaries. Hiram, having come here, having read the book, he felt inspired to volunteer. And he then applied with the ABCFM, the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions, to be one of those missionary ministers. And he was approved. And shortly thereafter, his classmate, Asa Thurston, was also approved. They left Boston Harbor on October 23rd of 1819. We're fast approaching the bicentennial of the departure. So our bookend dates for our commemoration, what we call Hawaii in New England, is September 29th to October 23rd. And this performance is going to be in about 27 places around. There's some lines that you'll hear that started to resonate with me about why we went in the order that we did. Because I can't be here the whole month. So this is my last performance in this first part. I'm going to leave New England, but I'm going to come back in Boston. But we were at Goshen, where Hiram Bingham was ordained. We were at Andover, where he went to the theological seminary. We were in Yale, where Opukaha met Edwin Dwight and really got involved in wanting to learn more, but ultimately had the contact with them. And then we were in Sturbridge, which was like a place where Hiram probably went through, getting here to Cornwall, also getting to subsequently to Goshen. Well, Hiram and Sybil left on October 23rd of 1819. After 164 days, they ended up in Kailua Kona on April 4th of 1820. Sybil was pregnant with her first child. We have a picture of her in the mission house, in what has been, in a place where Hiram and Sybil actually lived. They had not seen their daughter. The missionaries were spending so much time preaching and teaching to the Hawaiians that they had little time for their own children. So that first child, Sophia, at age 8, was sent to the mainland. She wasn't sent back because she was born in the islands, and that's all she knew. And they made a painting of her when they arrived, and then that was sent back. And we have that displayed up in the Bingham room. Sophia is my great-great-grandmother. Hiram is my great-great-great-grandfather. I said in Goshen that Goshen was a home to me, and that was the first time I'd been there. Cornwall is a home to me, and this is the first time. It's like, I'm sorry I haven't been here before, but I am here now. All of this reminds me of the long connection that Hawaii and New England have had over the years. And sometimes we forget about it. I tried to give everyone a pin, and if you didn't get a pin, I'm going to put them here so you get one. Not only to help commemorate the bicentennial, but to remind us the connection that we have. We have started to develop some very good relationships with people and entities in New England. And we're committed to keep those connections alive, that we don't lose the context of this long relationship that we've had. And that hopefully, as we have had a Hawaii and New England experience in the fall, in the spring, I encourage you to consider, and hopefully you will, join us in a New England to Hawaii experience for commemorations there. The mission, there were 6 newlyweds and a family. And when they were coming, I believe, they thought they were going to be kept together. And ultimately, they were immediately separated. So when they landed in Kailua Kona, the king happened to be there, and the rest of the mission, a couple, Asa Thurston and Pullman and Hopu were left in Kona. The rest went to Honolulu. And then a couple, Samuel Ruggles and Samuel Whitney took Hume, one of the Hawaiian boys, to Hawaii, took him home. And so within a month, between April 4th and May 3rd, the missionaries had been split up into 3 separate islands. I mentioned a little bit about the other Hawaiians. I mentioned Hopu. There were 4 Hawaiians that were on the boat with the Thaddeus. Some of them, you'll hear about them from Opukaha himself. But they also then split up. Hopu, one of them, was in Kona. Kanui and Honolulu were in Honolulu, and Hume was taken home to his father, King Kaumoli'i. So I'm hopeful that you would consider coming to Hawaii. I'll put in a plug saying we appreciate the support from Hawaiian Airlines because they sponsored the travel for our actors. Hawaiian has a non-stop flight from Boston to Honolulu. There's no layover. You don't get stuck in Atlanta or somewhere on the West Coast wondering if your bags are going to make the connection. And it's $598 has been the lowest we've seen it. Not bad for a round trip to Hawaii.
Right, the same in New York City too.
So April 4th, we'll be in Kailua Kona, an all-day event with a large luau planned for 1,000 on a pier in the open sky, and it won't rain. The street's going to be shut down. Once you see this kind of performance, I'll just say we're going to have more of that over in Kona. Now, if you want to extend your time from April 18th to April 26th, you want to be in Honolulu then. All those same performances are going to be held during that week as well as lots of other stuff. And if you really want to go for it, May 2nd and 3rd on the island of Kauai. So it's a 3-island tour. But I hope you guys can go. If you can't, when you see that pin or you think about this performance, remember the connection that we have. We've had it for 200 years. And that's something really special. And it's really special for us to be here. So thank you for allowing us to be here. And I know you'll enjoy this. There's a calendar of events on the missionhouses.org that if you want to see it in other places in New England, you can see it from that calendar of events. And at this time,
Lisa, Historical Society? There you go.
yeah.
So, one of the things that we have in the relieving is a commemoration poster that Peter has signed and includes the 5 young men who were here in Cornwall and studied here in Cornwall, all 5 of whom came back to Hawaii actually, and I think to a large part they all 5 came back to Hawaii because of the people of Cornwall.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Thanks so much. We will treasure this, keep it at the Historical Society in place of prominence. We are about to finally concede that we see so many of these wonderful Hawaiian friends so regularly. that we're now going to have a corner in the Historical Society where we have a permanent exhibit about the Foreign Mission School and Opukaha here in Cornwall. And we'll have this there too. Thank you.
The heaven is above, the earth below, and I am Hawaii. But how did I get here? And how did I become who I am? My name is Hawaii Lincoln. I was born and raised in the beautiful town of Waimea on Hawaii Island. I am the Cultural Programs Coordinator at the Hawaiian Mission House's Historic Site and Archives. And I am a musician, a hula dancer, an actor, and a storyteller. There is a thread that connects me to my past. I am the needle. And all of my life's choices, decisions, people I've met, things I've done, things I haven't done, make up the flowers that are the lei that is my life. And my lei is a further continuation of all of the lei that came before me, of all of my ancestors. Now, my story is easy to tell. I am the result of lives that came together to make new life. But not all history is so convenient. Not all stories are so easy to tell. There's always more than one side. And many stories have more than two. Hawaii's history is no exception. It would be impossible to stand up here and tell you all of the ways that Opukaha changed Hawaii in one round without sacrificing bits and pieces that often contradict each other. So I will tell you the story of how Opukaha changed the history of music in Hawaii. And like all good stories, I'm going to start at the end. The song that I opened with was actually written in 1971. It is called Hey Hawaii Au. It was written at the beginning of the Second Hawaiian Renaissance. This was a time period in Hawaii's history where there was a huge resurgence of Hawaiian cultural practices. The people of Hawaii were returning to wayfinding and hula and music, weaving, lei making. They were breathing life back into cultural practices that had nearly been lost. Our mother tongue, Olelo Hawaii, was returning to the mouths and ears of the people. And new songs were being written. Songs like Hey Hawaii Au that celebrated the pride of our identity, of being Hawaiian. Now this was a big deal. Not too many years before the Second Hawaiian Renaissance, it wasn't considered cool to be Hawaiian. Cultural pride had been crushed under years of oppression. And to understand how we got to that place, we need to step back a bit further in time. In 1893, the Kingdom of Hawaii was illegally overthrown by businessmen who no longer wanted to pay the tariffs on their Hawaiian sugar that they were selling to the United States of America. After that coup, steps were taken to silence the Hawaiian voice. The cultural and emotional damage from that time is still felt to this day. But there is comfort to be found in the music composed by Queen Opukaha. Do not look to the evil, to the wrongdoing of man. Aka e hui kala amae e no. Instead, forgive them and cleanse them. Queen Opukaha wrote that prayer, that hymn, while she was imprisoned after the overthrowing of her kingdom. She dealt with immeasurable hardships throughout her life, but at no point did she lose her faith. A Christian faith. A faith that was brought to Hawaii in 1820 by missionaries who came from here and New England. A faith that laid the foundation for the over 300 songs that she composed throughout her life. Now, it is easy to understand that when the missionaries came to Hawaii, they changed the items, and their influence was felt far beyond this new religion. Along with bringing a new God, they brought with them new concepts of agriculture, work ethic, family structures. They changed the way Hawaiians dressed, helped conceive of the very first Hawaiian Constitution. They put written word to our oral language, which then gave birth to over thousands of Hawaiian newspapers. They also brought their music. The culture of hymnody. Traditional Hawaiian music, our oli, our chant structure, used melodies in a different way. And harmony was new and very exciting. When these two forms of music came together, something magical happened. At first, hymns were used as another tool for the missionaries to be able to teach Hawaiians how to read, how to write, and lessons from the Bible. And in the early days, they translated over traditional English and American hymns into Hawaiian. But in time, new hymns were written in Hawaiian. E Hawaii e kuone hanau e, ku'uhome, kulaivine, oli no ina pono maniu, e Hawaii a hau oli e nā o hio Hawaii nei. Oli e, mai nā ahe makani e pā mai nei. Mau ke aloha no Hawaii. That hymn is really a love song to Hawaii. That song was written by Reverend Lorenzo Lyons, a missionary who came to Hawaii from New England, learned Hawaiian, spoke Hawaiian for the rest of his life, and was so fluent in it that he was able to write such beautiful poetry like that song. And Lorenzo Lyons was one of hundreds of missionaries that came to Hawaii to learn Hawaiian so that they could work towards their goal of spreading Christianity across the island chain. And it's emotional being in this space. They worked towards their goal of spreading Christianity throughout the island chain. But none of that could have happened. None of that story could have occurred if not for the actions and the choices made by one Hawaiian man, Opukaha. Opukaha was born and raised in Napo'opo'o, Ka'u, on Hawaii Island. From a very young age, he began his training to follow the footsteps of the men of his family line, to become a kahuna, a priest for the god Lono. That training included the sharpening of his mind, the importance of memorization. Part of the oral culture of Hawaii was that everything had to be memorized. And Opukaha was an incredibly intelligent man. And in a story that is both sad and complicated, Opukaha leaves Hawaii and finds his way here, quite literally here, to this place. He converts to Christianity and decides that he wants to bring it home to Hawaii. He wants to come back. But it wouldn't be for almost 200 years before his bones were brought back to Hawaii. Where his bones called out to his descendant, Auntie Debbie, who brought him home. O Paulo ke kane, o hina ka wahine, no hopu laua aua hana uia, o ka mohouna he wahine. O ke ao ke kane, o ka mohouna ka wahine, no hopu laua aua hana uia, o Opukaha ia. He kane, he pua o Hawaii.
E nā Hawaii, e hoiwa, ku aina, o ka paipala ku kana, e hea kau e iko, e hea ke olo. Father God, take this sickness from me. In the name of Jesus, purge this typhus from my body so that I might return home. Home to Hawaii. My poor countrymen, who are yet living in a region and shadow of death, not knowing the true God, ignorant of the future world, have no Bible to read, no Sabbath. I must go. I must return. Father, give me the strength the strength to stand, the strength to sail upon the seas once again. Hey! What are you doing in here? Get out of my cabin. Go on, get. What's the matter? Can't you talk any English? I bet the captain sent you in here, didn't he? He keeps saying he wants us sailors to show you island boys how to do stuff. Thinks he can turn you brown monkeys into civilized folk. Well, Brownie, today is your lucky day, because I'm feeling a real teachery right now. All right, what do you want to learn? I know. I'll show you how to use a comb. Except I don't actually own a comb. I would teach you how to read, but you're going to have to wait till somebody teaches me first. If you want to learn to read, you're going to have to go see Russell Hubbard. He's always got his nose stuck in a book. Hey, I know. I'll show you how to tie a shoe. Yeah. There's another pair over there in the corner. Go ahead and put them on those big old brown feet of yours. Ugh. All right, Brownie. I want you to pay close attention, because this is going to be the hardest thing you're ever going to learn. I want you to take one string, and you're going to make a loop. And then you take the other string, and you go over, under, up, and through. Ta-da! I'll show you again. You make a loop, and you go over, under, up, and through. There you go. Now don't expect to get this right on the first try. It's probably going to take you months to learn. Hey, you did it. That's it. Would you look at that? All the other brown monkeys can't even learn how to hold a fork right, and here you are tying your shoe on the first try. Yeah, you're a smart one. Hey, ain't you the one they call Opukaha? Yeah, that's you. I hear you're the one saw his whole family get killed. That's probably why you're on this boat, isn't it? To get away. Yeah, you are smart. You know what I think? I think a smart monkey like you is going to need a smart monkey name. And if you ask me, Opukaha sounds pretty ridiculous. I think I'm going to call you Henry. Yeah, that's a smart guy name if I ever heard one. From now on, your name is going to be Henry. Henry, this boat still has to sail all the way around Africa before we reach New England, so you got lots of time. Why don't you run along and go see Russell Hubbard now? Smart as you are, he'll probably have you reading books by the time we reach Connecticut. As for me, I'm going to sit right here and rest my bones. Opukaha, the slashing of the stomach. A name to remember my pregnant aunt who died while in labor. My uncle cut open the belly of her lifeless body to retrieve the unborn child inside. There is death in that name. It is a name I no longer go by. A relic of a life I no longer live. Now, I live only to serve you, Lord. I live to fill my own belly with the teachings of your holy scriptures, so that I might take those teachings back to the land of my birth. Though I can scarce remember the details of its character, my thoughts seldom drift to such things. But this I know to be by design. The Holy Father would have me contemplate on his goodness alone, not of a people who remain yet without light. The only reminder of my homeland are my fellow countrymen who, like me, have found their home here among the good God-fearing people of this land. John Honolulu, William Kanui, and of course Thomas Hopo, my friend, my confidant. Each of them is as changed as I am. Each has found comfort in the Lord. When I look upon their faces, I do not see the brown of their skin. I see only their souls, white as snow, washed clean by the blood of the Lamb. They have come to visit me many times here in my sick bed. We laugh, we pray, we speak of the goodness of God. And I say to them the same words I will speak to the people of Hawaii when I return. You must love God, or else you perish forever. God has given his Son to die for you. I want you to love God so much. Father, I beg of you, allow me to be the vessel that carries to them the balm of healing. I will show them all that you have shown me. I will tell them of all the wondrous things you have done for me here in this land. For never have I not felt the welcome of the many churches and congregations that surround me. And always have I found open the doors of the many respected places of learning this land holds. Bradford Academy in Massachusetts, the Theological Seminary in Andover, Morris Academy, where I studied Hebrew, geography, arithmetic. I have learned so much, and it's by your hand alone that I have been so quick to learn. For when you would have me literate, you placed in my life Mr. Hubbard, and upon that boat, he opened my mind to the gift of reading. When you would have my hands learn the labor of this land, you provided me with work on the many farms and fields of Massachusetts. And when you desired my heart to receive the power of your gospel, you placed in my path men anointed in your spirit, men who have planted precious seeds of truth within me, men who have changed my life. Reverend Perkins, Jeremiah Fuller, Edwin Dwight, Reverend Dwight, and of course, my dear, dear brother Samuel Mills. Samuel. Henry, I am so happy, so truly happy for you. Welcoming the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ into your heart is the single most important moment in a person's entire life. Oh, and how it pleases me that it was you who have come to this decision on your own. No one coerced you, no one forced you. It was simply the pureness of your heart that has led you, my friend. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Yes, Henry. Matthew 5, verse 8. Very good. My, but you do have an astounding memory. You've been here in Connecticut for barely 2 years, and already you have learned so much. But believe me when I tell you that this is merely the beginning. With God, you will experience growth tenfold. You will be changed, born again. Henry, you will be a new man. But you must realize that no longer can you cleave to your old beliefs in any way. You yourself have told me of the pagan ways of your people, how at such a young age they were grooming you to become an idol-worshipping priest of that backward religion. Those wooden images are false, Henry. They are vile in the eyes of God. You come from a lost people, a people who abide in chaos, heathenism. Oh, but do forgive me, my dear friend, you must miss your people terribly. Henry, I'm simply saying that gone are the days of dwelling in darkness. Gone is Opukaha, the heathen. Born will be Henry, a man of God. And think of the testimony that you will have. It will be a story to inspire the heathen who shed his wicked ways and found comfort in the Lord. Think of all the lives that will be touched by your story. The countless lost souls around the world that will give themselves over to the mighty hand of God. Henry, I never told you this, but 4 years ago, several colleagues and myself gathered at a place called Sloan's Meadow. The 5 of us met beneath the stars that day to discuss ways that we could spread the word of God, not only here, but beyond Connecticut, beyond the seas even, to foreign lands abroad. But as soon as our meeting commenced, the heavens above began to rumble angrily. It seemed the more we spoke, the louder the sky bellowed and roared, until finally it let loose its fury upon us. Lightning filled the night, thunder shook the ground beneath our feet, and torrents of rain descended upon us. We had little choice but to seek shelter beneath a nearby haystack. There, the 5 of us sat, our bodies drenched, and our minds filled with confusion, doubt. Was this sudden storm the Lord's way of telling us to stop? End this mission before it begins? Allow those heathens of foreign lands to find their way on their own? Or was this storm a test? An opportunity for us to strengthen our resolve and remain steadfast in our desire to do His work. Oh, Henry, you cannot know the gift that you have given me this day. For it is in this very moment, 4 years after shivering beneath that haystack, that the final bit of doubt has finally left my mind. Henry, you will be the key to completing the work we began all those years ago. Thank you, my friend. Oh, do forgive me for intruding upon this precious moment. This momentous occasion is yours to celebrate, not mine. Oh, Henry, it is time to pray. You need not be nervous, my friend. You need only to give yourself over to the miraculous hand of God. Come, let us close our eyes together, and when you are ready, speak the words of your heart. Great, eternal God, make heaven, make earth, make everything. Have mercy on me. Make me understand the Bible. Make me good, great God. I remember every word I uttered in that prayer. And I remember you, Samuel. Dear brother, it was you who led my steps to that moment. How I wish that you were here with me now. How I long to be in the loving midst of your family once again. For when I first came here, it was they who took me in. I came here alone. I came here alone. Neither my mother, nor a father, nor a brother. I whispered to my mother. She is clutching my baby brother in her hands. She tries to soothe him, to keep him calm, but her hands, they tremble uncontrollably. The bad men have come. They have followed us into the forest. They draw near, but Father has fled. He runs. He runs from us when we need him the most. Help! A hand covers my mouth. It is Mother. Her eyes filled with concern, tell me to be silent. Father leads the bad men away from us. He will give himself over so that we might live. My little brother screams in her panic to silence my mouth. My mother's trembling hands lost hold of his body. He has fallen to the ground, and now his crying wail fills the forest. The bad men here. They come for us. They seize Mother, then they grab me by the wrists, pulling me into the air. I try to fight them, I kick, I scream, but the men, they are too powerful. I'm just a boy. Something hard hits the side of my face. It is the ground. I am free. The bad men, they have released me. Father has returned. He has come back for us. He fights them. He fights the bad men. Kuhelepela, he says to me, run. I do. I grab my baby brother from the ground and I run. I run as fast as my little legs can carry me. I stop for just a moment to hoist my brother onto my back, and in that moment, I hear a scream. It is a woman's voice, screaming in horrible pain, followed by the shriek of a man releasing his final roar of defiance. They are gone. My feet have begun to run again, but my mind is without thought. My run is aimless. I clutch my baby brother's arms about my neck. I squeeze them tight. I run. My brother screams and screams, but my ears can barely hear. I grip him tighter still. He is in pain. I am breaking the bones in his tiny arms, but my hands refuse to release their grip. They are gone. The ground hits my face again. Something powerful has jolted me from behind. And my brother's screams have stopped. Blood runs down my neck and pools beneath my face. The blood, it is not my own. Those bad men came during a time of war. The new chief had risen to power. My family paid the ultimate price, yet I lived. Why? The man who murdered my mother and father and baby brother took pity on me, and for a time he raised me as his own. Why? I alone survived, while the rest of my family perished, but I wish that I hadn't. I wish that its spear had not stopped at my brother's back, but went clean through the both of us. Emptiness. Pure and utter emptiness was all that I was left with, and I wanted to be free. Free of the pain, free of those horrible memories. And then a path opened before me, and I stepped foot. And the further I followed that path, the farther away those memories were. The more I was able to shed every scrap of my former life. I was given a new name. I had gained a new identity. I had sailed away to a land where I could fill that emptiness with something else. I then began to study the language of this land until I could read it, speak it, and write it as well as anyone. I devoted every waking minute to study pronunciation, structure, and syntax. I then began to work on my own books of spelling and grammar, writing down the sounds and words of my native tongue, realizing that never before had a tool like this been created. Finally, I took on the task of translating the Holy Bible into the Hawaiian language, and suddenly it all made sense. Why it was that I alone survived, while the rest of my family perished. Why it was that that boat docked at Kealakekua Bay at precisely the right moment in time, and why for the past 9 years I have been surrounded by so many God-fearing men of the cloth. I was chosen to lead my people to salvation. I then began to obsess over the very place that I ran from, driven by the thought of bringing healing to a lost people, a people whose ways brought me so much pain. My calling had come, and I was certain of my purpose. Only I was wrong. I am not the bringer of healing. I am the one who must receive it. I ran from those bad men all those years ago, and until this very moment, my feet have never stopped. My name is not Henry. My name is Opukaha. It is a name I will no longer run from. There is death in that name, but from that death, a child lived. Thank you, Father. I am not sick. I have no pain. I feel well. The final breath of life leaves my body. My earthly remains are carried to the old Cornwall cemetery and placed in a large stone box. There I lay, looking up at the beautiful sky. The trees around me swing, and many have gathered, friends. They sing, they weep, they rejoice. And then a great stone is heaved above my crypt, blocking out the sky, dimming the light, and silencing the sounds of life. Within this tomb there is rest, only rest. But then, after an age, the stone rolls away, and above me, I see the face of a woman. Her eyes, they are the eyes of my father. They are the eyes of my mother. They are the eyes of my baby brother. This woman is of my own blood, and she has come for me. She has come to take me home.
very much for being here. Thank you for this space. It's been really wonderful being here, in particular in this space today. Some of the things that we incorporate in with the historic portrayals that we do at the Hawaiian Mission Houses is to allow a space for engaging dialogue after. So if there are any questions from the audience about any of it, the process, the play that was written by Moses Goods and then acted by him, if you have any questions on that, go ahead and ask us now. Do you have any questions? No be shame, you say it, Hawaii. No have to be shy about it. Yeah?
So how did it come to you direct?
When I had first come to this area, I was actually had a performance at Yale University, and I performed in New York, and it was the person taking me up there, drew me up there, just started to have a conversation with me, and she said that her great-great-great-grandfather went to school with this famous guy from Hawaii, and she started to describe who this person was. I'm like, are you talking about Henry Opukaha? And it was. So her grandfather was John Ridge, and they were at the school together. And she was already working on a piece, and I've known the story for most of my life, and it's been a story that I've been wanting to tell, but I don't force the stories that I tell. When the moment's right, then I'll know, and that was the right moment, because through Yale, they were able to bring me back a second time, and that's when I visited this area for the first time. There was a house where he died in. I got to go into the room. I also got to meet Auntie Deborah Lee, who was the descendant, the family member that brought him home. So that was the first part of that journey, was meeting her, going into the room, going over to the original grave. So that was the first step for me. So the last scene that you saw, him seeing her, was the very first scene that I wrote because of that experience. So that's what happened first for me, and then the rest just kind of fell in place. So that's a little bit of how that story came to be.
Yes.
So it's a very complicated history of the relationship of the missionaries and Hawaii. And I just wonder, when you're in Hawaii telling the story, how is it being received because of that complicated history?
I think we can both comment on that a little bit. It's received in every way you can think of. Yeah, there are people that are seeing this story from every angle, which is good, that's what I want. But there are people who see the story only from one angle. I think that's a little dangerous when that happens. Hopefully in the writing you're able to see the different points of view, the different things that happen, with this story, and eventually the story of the missionaries. You want to comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, there have been interesting little differences. For my portion, the music portion of the beginning, there are cases in which when we're doing this around Hawaii, that everybody joins in and sings the songs with me, which is what I love that. And then you were kind of starting to sing Hawaii Aloha, you're more than welcome to next time if you want to. So there are fun things like that, because in a way it's a story that's already so well known in Hawaii. But what we're allowing, the opportunity I think that we're getting is to give it in another lens, another scope, because it is such a complicated story. And then when we take this into the schools, which is my personal favorite, when we get to go into the classrooms or perform in front of schools, there are things in his script in particular that, depending on what school we're at, will get a different kind of reaction. Some of the older kids will be very upset with some of the words that are used in that script. And so that allows us to then create dialogue about terms that are racist in nature, and then create conversation about that with the students. So yeah, it's received differently every place we go. Any other questions? I want to thank really the Cornwall Historic Society for having us here. Thank you guys so much.
So perhaps we can continue the conversation at the reception.
Yes.
Why don't we do that?
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you so much.